Hello, class 6 students. We come to part 2 of the poem A Passing Glimpse by Robert Frost. In the previous class, we had discussed about what is glimpse, that is a short look, and when we read the poem, we have seen that in brackets he has talked about Riley Torrens, and from the reference given in the above, we find that Riley Torrens was a friend of Robert Frost, and he had written this second volume. This Hesperides is the second volume of Torrance's poetry, and why he has mentioned his name is that he is kind of acknowledging the fact that his inspiration to write this poem was his friend's work on last looking into his Hesperides. And Hesperides in Greek mythology was they were nymphs. Yes, they were nymphs who looked after a blissful garden. So as I had already mentioned, that garden means there will be a lot of trees, flowering plants, flowers in that way. And he is also talking in this poem about some flowers, and he says that I often see these flowers from a passing car. And what is passing car here? Passing car means the compartment of a train. So he travels, we can understand he travels, means he used to travel by train very often, and he's saying that I see these flowers very often. But the problem with it is that it since he is in a fast moving vehicle, these flowers pass by very fast before he can identify them. But the sight is so attractive that he wants to get down from the train, go back and have a close look at these flowers. But he says that that is not possible, and he says that these flowers are gone before there is it is just a flash, okay, and the next moment these flowers are gone, and because of the because he is in a fast moving vehicle, and since they go out of sight, he feels kind of sad, and he is trying to recollect the names of the flowers that he had seen. Now what he says is that he says that the names which are coming to my mind, I'm sure that they were not the flowers that I had seen from this from the compartment of the train. And not only this, he gives the justification of why they are not those flowers. He says that those flowers cannot be, because they cannot grow beside a railway track. Why? He is saying that these flowers grow here, this flower goes here, this is this. So he gives a justification of why the names that come to his mind are not the flowers he had seen. So he says that I name all the flowers, I'm sure they weren't. Not bluebells gracing a tunnel mouth, not lupine living on sand and trout. So the first flower that he talks about, and see the next three lines he goes at not. That is, these are not the flowers, these are not the flowers, these are not the flowers. So he says that fireweed is a North American plant which grows pinkish kind of flowers. So why it cannot be fireweed? Because fireweed generally grows in burnt areas, okay, where it has been burnt. So means it's not possible that he has seen them along the railway tracks, so they won't grow there. Then he says about bluebells. Bluebells, as the name suggests, the flowers will be blue and shaped as a bell. And they are kind of wildflowers. And why it cannot gracing a tunnel mound? Grace means what? Grace means adding beauty. Okay, so mouth means the entrance of the tunnel. So we are kind of means the poet is kind of trying to tell us, which are the places that he had seen. One was beside the railway track, one was at the beginning of the entrance of a tunnel. So he says that it cannot grow there because it grows in damp areas. This bluebells. Then he's saying that lupine, not lupine living on sand and drought. Why? Because lupine lives on sand and drought, that is very dry areas, and lupine is a plant of the pea family. So since means dry desert kind of regions, so that is the reason, why the three names of the flowers that come to his mind, he is making a very emphatic no to all three of them, that why is it. So and then he goes on recollecting, and then finally something tells him, and he writes these lines. Was something brushed across my mind that no one on earth will ever find? That is, brushed across my mind means it was just a flash. Okay, it came as a flash to my mind that no one on earth will ever find. So in a word, what he is trying to say that was the picture that comes to my mind, that I'm trying to visualize. Okay, is it only my imagination? And if it is my imagination, then no matter how hard I try, I will never find it on earth, because they don't exist in reality. And then what he says, heaven gives its glimpses only to those not in a position to look too close. So he is saying that since I cannot go back and take a second look at it, so this the glimpse of these flowers, this momentary look that I had at these flowers, or rather he just before this he makes a he comes to the conclusion that these were not the flowers which he had actually seen. These are his imagination. These flowers are is his imagination. So he has imagined these flowers. So he's saying that heaven gives us glimpses to those not in a position to look so close. So the glimpses of these flowers are heavenly to him. Why? Because heaven is something we always means it's high above and it's beyond our reach. So that is why the sight of or the very imagination of these flowers is heavenly for him. Now, as if you go on to the next reference, means next information about this poem that is given, that this poem is in a at a very one level it's very simple, but through these two lines, what does the poet try to say? Now, there can be different interpretations about this poem. One could be that he's talking of being close to nature in that way. That is, we are so busy with our lives, we don't have much time to spend time with nature. Another could be he's talking of opportunities, kind of missed opportunities. But let's stick to what is given in your book in page 162, that it seems that the poet is trying to tell us that it is sometimes good that we don't have means we look at things from a distance and not too close, because whenever we come too close, we get to know the thing very deeply, and nothing is perfect on this earth. Everything has its flaws, defects, as you call it. So then when we come too close to something, when we try to means when we are given the opportunity to observe a thing closely, then the, along with the beauty, the the other side of it, the defects also are very clear to us. So the poet is saying that it's better we see things, at times we see things from a distance, and not look too closely at it. And because whenever we have a very close observation, we kind of become too critical about it. And he is also talking about this with our loved ones, near and dear ones, about relationships. That is better that we take things as it is, and not to not be too means not try to judge it very much, or go very deep into it. See, it's given that only to achieve a better understanding, step back and not examine things too closely. So in a word, he is saying that it's better that we enjoy and appreciate things from a distance, and not get too close and be too critical about it. So that was it about the poem. Hope you have understood it. Thank you, students.